Good afternoon. Welcome to day 3 of Coach T's remote learning neighborhood, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But again, hopefully finds everybody doing well. Thought I would maybe continue off where we left off last time, where I showed you some tools that went from Comel continues, that goes into, which looks like an updated page with different links. There's 2 over here that I'm still trying to figure out how they open, but they seem to be links that cover the whole year, and we'll cover that maybe a little bit later if we have to make some more videos about covering information for the whole year. But anyway, I did again show you yesterday Coach T's website. I showed you the cheat sheet notes, and now let's take a look at maybe just 2 sections where we won't go very far as talking about it or whatever. And again, don't be afraid to send me a remind or write a comment below if you've got questions about something. But let's kind of take a look at maybe 2 sections of what's going on in America in the 1800s. We had talked about the Industrial Revolution, bringing about changes, having an impact upon society. We see an industrial North thanks to Slater and Lowell. We see obviously the transformation of a boomed society in the South being heavily dependent upon slavery, plantation life. We also looked at some videos where Mr. Green in a crash course video talked about King Cotton dominating society. Everything is revolved about King Cotton. Binding King Cotton, shipping King Cotton, plantation slavery, and even the issue of slavery becoming a topic that we looked at as far as so many slaves, millions of slaves in the South. Why aren't they breaking away? And we looked at Nat Turner's rebellion. But as Mr. Green said in the video, the ability to just be able to survive and have your own identity, even though not resorting often to physical violence, was survival, was their way of coping through spirituals, through through folk tales, through singing, and so forth. Okay. So we left it off there. Yes, Aaron, are you going to be that kid that comes up in the video while I'm trying to record?
No.
Okay. Cooler. All right. But anyway, so we talked about the effects of industry and industrialization on society. So the first 2 sections talk about focus on the industrial North. We see an influx. I can go back up here to the top. We see an influx of immigrants coming to the country. We see they talk about Irish and Germans coming over, even an impact in Texas, right? New Braunfels, Fredericksburg. But Irish are coming over because of potato famine, the destruction of their crops, and coming over to America. The Germans are coming over to America. And as we had seen through the mechanical reapers impact of urbanization, very important word that we learned last time, we see an explosion in the cities. And in the cities, we start seeing the immigrants come in, and a lot of problems ensue, like overcrowding, a lack of police force, the struggle between classes, also hatred amongst classes. You saw a term maybe called nativism, where a lot of the people that were living in the country were struggling with the fact that an Irish immigrant could come in and do the work for less pay, and then leading to fighting. Also hostility between religious groups, mostly Protestant here, Catholics and other groups coming over. So it led to a lot of problems. The overcrowding of tenement housing. It was kind of weird. You could have a city where on one side you'd have the rich, factory owners, and the other you might, have the tenement housing. So it was overcrowding. Okay. This page talks about the different reasons why some people are coming over to America. Jobs, land of the free. Here they talk about the Irish and the Germans. Okay. And then here's that term that I mentioned, nativist. Okay. We start seeing that this hatred towards another group of people becomes even infused in politics. We start seeing political parties who have a platform, and remember we talked about a platform under Jefferson and Hamilton. The platform is what your party stands on. And there was a party that came up in the 1840s and 50s that their whole platform was about hating immigrants or making life difficult for them, like having to work longer hours, less pay, not owning a gun, and all that kind of stuff, making it difficult to become a citizen. And that party was eventually known as the Know Nothing Party. And again, I find it interesting of the name of the party being the Know Nothings, when a lot of people were asked, like, hey, when are we going to have that little party meeting about the immigrants? A lot of people would say, I know nothing, I know what you're talking about, even hinting at knowing that a party of hatred is not a good thing. Okay? So they talk about that. They talk about the growth of cities, and in the cities we see the emergence of a middle class. People that are not the factory owners, but that are not living in tenement housing. People that are merchants, manufacturers, maybe that woman that had the Isaac Singer sewing machine, where she could become more of a crafts person. Because remember, industrialization, mass production led to cheaper products. Yeah, people could afford it, but quality went down. Well, now there's an influx of people that want good, better products, so they start opening up a little shop, and all of this is going to tie in. A woman's going to be able to have a sewing machine, work at home, have a little bit more time, maybe go out and hit into a society that is going to have opportunities to better themselves, reform, and that's where we'll get to in the next sections. Okay, so they talk about the cities, tenement housing, and then the last section talks about changes as far as or advancements or movements in society and the arts. They start talking about this transcendentalist movement, where we start seeing people writing books about, like, try to rise above materialism, don't be a slave to technology, be self-reliant, big words, rely upon yourself, persevere, find a way, very fitting kind of a concept maybe in today's society. But we have authors like Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson, and you'll hear those names again. We'll definitely talk about Henry David Thoreau as we get to Mexican-American War and Western expansion. But be above yourself, rise above technology. And then we also see a continuation of the Hudson River School Romantic period. You probably have seen this guy right here, Thomas Cole, the Oxbow. We looked at in class, continuing that America, nature, man versus nature, kind of like concept. So before, or that's kind of like the first two sections. So what I thought I'd do is try to do something different every day. Maybe one day continue A through Z, maybe one day do a review for the year. I got this tool down here in the bottom, and let's see how I epically screw that up. But I've connected here my son's tablet, and I'll tell him, I've gone through his all his pictures and stuff like that, and he's a pretty good artist. Okay, so I might embarrass him a little bit later, but maybe show his TikTok that he put together. So TikToking could be like a theater production and arts and so forth. He's pretty cool. I'll show it to you. But here, take a look at this. A recap of something during the Industrial Age, or during the Age of Jackson. Okay, it's not working. Oh, no, and I screwed it up. I didn't want to do that. Okay, all right. Sorry. Okay, from the Age of Jackson. Take a look at this image. And what's usually also a good thing to do when I show these videos, maybe pause and take a look at something. But look at this. North, south. Rich, fat, white guy. Doesn't look like a farmer, but he does look like he's struggling because he's skinnier, but dressed well. Ship's not moving. Okay, this does not say toilet, it says to let, which is meaning to rent. And he's burdened with things called tariffs. Well, I remember that from the Age of Jackson, things called an abomination. Okay, and if you did a whole little kind of thing on that, what would you come down to? A Southerner being burdened by tariffs while the rich make more money, sectionalism. Oh, under Jackson, there was a thing called the nullification crisis. Talk about Jackson versus Calhoun, states versus national. Could have had civil war. I will find you and I will hang you from the tallest tree, was your great Democratic president's way of solving things. But Henry Clay, the pimple popper, the great compromiser that we talked about, he comes in and solves it. That's one just to kind of play around with. But then I have this one. Pause the video and see if you can make kind of any kind of deductions from that. Okay, so you've unpaused it. Now we're back to optic. Let's take a look. Optic overview. I see men stopping, and I'm gonna misspell. Come on now, Iceland. Icelander teaching American history. It's going to happen. Men stopping another man. So tools of analysis, right? So we do parts. Coach T does the plus sign. So that means we do not just do the plus sign. We look at it. We see him holding up a hand, another sign. We see shadows in the background. Shadows. See maybe a citation. Puck. What is that? Puck. Okay. We see accreditation down here. Again, stopping. But then look over here. Shadows. Yeah, but still the shadows continue. Looks like maybe, a pier, maybe, okay, somewhere on a dock or something, okay. Oh, look right there, something that Coach T usually puts out or covers up. It's called Looking Backward. So that's kind of a title. And remember, what did I tell you? I told you that usually titles 9 out of 10 times will be the conclusion. This one, no, it's not. It's going to be something else. Okay, and then we see another man in 2 sections over here. Does, compared to them, look a little poor. Poor. What are we all doing right now while we're talking? We're inferring. This could be our long paragraph that I'm not going to write out, okay, because of room and so forth. But what are you thinking? Rich, fat, white guys. Look at that stereotyping in the middle there. But in the backgrounds, look at their shadows, okay? What do we see in the shadows? We see them also looking like the guy coming off the boat, indicating poor background. I know what this is, okay? This is a cartoon that I would say is about nativism, okay? One of my favorite cartoons shown to me by my college professor, and again, being a person that comes to this country, okay, how can you deny anybody coming into a country where your ancestors came in over as poor people too? Do you see in the background? All these rich, fat, white guys over here, what? Have ancestors that came over and struggled just like this man, okay? And their wealth is dependent upon their work right here, their efforts. So Johannes Kepler, okay, in Puck magazine, took forth his message and put in a political cartoon to show that at that time nativism was a hypocrisy. Okay, how dare you prevent somebody from coming over and attempting their life, maybe, or attempting a new way of life. Could maybe make some connections to issues today in society. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. So we've talked about society, having immigration, okay? Let's maybe for next time take a look at movements that try to fix things that are going on in society. We see movements called temperance. We see movements in education. We see movements in prison because of overcrowding. We're also gonna maybe want to look at some things about women's rights, and then we're going to take a look at a very big one called abolition. So why don't you take a look at that, and next time when I come back on with video 4, we can kind of maybe have a discussion about that, and maybe those 4. But again, just like I've said, this is just you if you want to join me. I'm not taking any grades. This is just me kind of being a guide through your Comel Continues surfing of social studies. Yeah. Stay safe. Throw me some toilet paper if you got it, and I'll see y'all soon. Miss y'all. Bye.